Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And guys, my question of today is, what would be the first thing that you do if you woke up and XRP, boom, was at $10 a coin? Would you cash everything out? Would you keep everything in it? Like, what would you do? Let me know in the comment section down below. I've heard so many different stories from people throughout these last couple of months, but I definitely do wonder. I would personally, I guess I would, no, not really, to be honest with you. I guess if it's really like you wake up and boom, it's $10, I would most likely cash some out due to amazement. However, if it gradually gets to $10, I probably wouldn't. So it's just that wow factor for me, I guess. It's going to get me to just cash out a couple $1,000s maybe. I'm not sure exactly, but all right. Now, what we have to talk about today is something which I've stalled for a little while. Why? Well, because it is extremely difficult, extremely broad, and extremely interesting. And so I always make this way off for myself between posting something as soon as possible, posting something when I fully understand it, or finding a healthy mix. And right now, I've chosen the latter. It is finding a healthy mix between understanding all the connections and just getting the news out as soon as possible so people can take the bait and then kind of catch the fish themselves. You know, they can grab the bait and then use that fishing pole and the bait to lure in the fish, basically, or something like that. I don't freaking know. Now, what we're going to be talking about has to do, and I had to press the like button. I forgot. That's stupid Dust to be seen. If you're watching this video and you haven't pressed the like button, you see, oh, no, that's not good. You know, you feel guilty already. That's what I feel. Make sure you press that like button like I'm doing right here. What we're going to be talking about is the XRP SWIFT connection, as it is extremely apparent, extremely important, and King Solomon here gave a really good explanation, and I think he has based his story on what Cryptonym told him. That's something he said at the start, but I've already kind of forgotten what that is all about. So let's dive a little bit into the patent which he found, or which they showcased first, and then we'll dive a little bit further into the sidelines, all right? So basically, there's this patent right here on the appft.uspto.gov, and if you look all the way at the top here, it's official stuff, U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and it is a United States patent application done on the 19th of August for a computer-implemented method for processing a financial transaction and a system therefore. Make sure you understand, guys, if you want the full explanation, the first one, this is the one you got to watch, all right? This video. I am just doing my best to kind of file it over. So one thing which I still don't fully understand, and I've kind of talked about that for a little while, is what the filing date here means and the kind of the upper date here, basically, like what's the difference? Because from a certain perspective, I'm thinking, okay, so this has all been filed a couple of months ago and just now became public on August 19th. Or just been approved or something like that. And then sometimes I think, no, this is just a date for something else, but it's because I don't understand patents that perfectly. So this is for a computer-implemented method for processing a financial transaction, includes the steps of transmitting one or more documents pertaining to the financial transaction from an intermediary server to a document store, generating an enriched data record from one or more documents at the first intermediary server and adding the enriched data record into a blockchain. From the first intermediary server, requesting generation of a token corresponding to the financial transaction to a token server, generating the token at the token server and adding the token into the blockchain, transmitting the token to the intermediary server from the token server, and transmitting the token from the intermediary server to the document store. Wow. A long story. It's not that difficult, but it's a little bit annoying to kind of read out. So it is filed by Identity with the double I, PTY Ltd. And they've already done a couple of patents in the past, which are related to it in 2016 and 18. So that's kind of, oh no, here, 2015, 16, and 16, I guess. There's also been a couple of ones that are related to it, I guess. These are the ones that they've done before, apparently. Now, that's all cool, right? Let's type in XRP. There's a couple of things. Rule number 162. This is about a settlement gateway of payers bank. This is an example. Settlement gateway of payers bank sends by way of non-limiting XRP, the native currency of the Ripple protocol, to Billers Bank gateway. Payers Bank Gateway notifies token database 1023 of receipt And then clearing payer's bank nostro account is debited subject to bank institution rules. Funny how they talk about a nostro-vostro system. Once more, like King Solomon has already explained, examples of tokenized messages and their generation and transmission are illustrated in pseudocode at the end of the description before the claims. Reference to Sparrow is a reference to an instance of a token database. 23. Features of this embodiment include the enablement of a private invitation-only network for banking institutions which, in a particular form, can facilitate cross-border payments, thereby to enable sustainability, real-time payments at reduced processing cost, or substantially real-time payments. So, and then in just a little second, they're going to talk about Ripple and SWIFT. Clearing, we just read that. With reference to figure 11, there is shown a block diagram of salient characteristics of a messaging system 810 of the prior art, as compared with the salient messaging characteristics of the system 1010 enabled by the code listed above, and more broadly described with reference to the earlier embodiments. Figure 12 and figure 13, which they talk about here, provides a comparison of characteristics of embodiments of the present infant as... Wow, guys, why is this so difficult for me? Let's get into it. I've read this for so long, I did my best, right? Don't worry about it. Present invention as compared with the prior art SWIFT-based messaging system at a commercial layer 1270, a security layer 1271, and a technical layer 1272. So let's read that one again. All right, so figure 13 provides a comparison of characteristics of embodiments of the present invention as compared with the prior art SWIFT-based messaging system with a couple of different layers. Now, the embodiments of the invention can be implemented utilizing the Ripple framework, protocol, and gateway, or more generally, any blockchain-based framework. And so, like Owl says here, it's an example that they could utilize Ripple/XRP in this system, yet it's a critically picked example, and you'll see why in just a second. In a particular form, the final settlement process can be enabled through a Ripple framework, thereby to facilitate substantially real-time settlement across multiple institutions and multiple banks. So one thing I am seeing right here is, in fun words, a kind of system which is theoretically replacing the multi-layer SWIFT system, or at least as an example already given. Now, a couple of things. One, first of all, we've never actually said Ripple will replace SWIFT all the way. We've noticed before they work together, and to be honest with you, that's actually the point which King Solomon here also likes to make, saying, well, if you look at all the characteristics here, in the charts, for example, you're seeing here how the proposed idea is kind of at least in my opinion, kind of a combination of multiple things. And ultimately, right now you have the 3-layer SWIFT system or multiple layer SWIFT system. You're always going to have a multiple layer kind of Ripple system from some perspective too. Yet, the Ripple system and the SWIFT system could work together in some way, shape, or form to kind of get to this newer layer of things. But let's dive into 5-minute 20-ish. So Identity, the entity that filed this patent, this is a little post from a couple of years ago which reads, the goal of this simple, fast, and secure payment network from Australia, which again is where it's coming from, is to make a cross-border payment as easy as a domestic payment. Built on the Ripple protocol, it is designed to support low-value, high-volume cross-border payments and reduce bank processing costs. Sparrow's products are quickly deployable, cloud-hosted, and provided to banks, yada, yada, yada. So, once more, if we kind of do one and one together, Identity is built on the Ripple protocol. It is talking about utilizing Ripple as an example, and it's basically talking about how they can kind of change the SWIFT system. Well, let's kind of dive into these two lines here. So, conventional transmission includes transmission of conventional messages utilizing the SWIFT protocol. It is also to be noted that institutions A and B may be subsidiaries of the same institution or may otherwise be closely related. In the alternative, they may be completely independent institutions. So this basically talks about how the connections can be made, which should be completely independent as an example. What should be allowed, basically. So the difference right there is if you have subsidiaries or easy connections in that degree, it's a lot easier for a system because you need trust, or you have trust and you have knowings. If it can be completely independent institutions, you sometimes don't have trust, or you don't know the system, basically, you don't know the other side. And if you can still transact with those and still consent to proper messaging, that's pretty nice. And then the tokenized message as described in previous embodiments may include information as typically transmitted by SWIFT or other current acknowledged data transmission systems for transmission of financial information for the purpose of transfer of funds between parties. So point being here, the messaging system which they're trying to think of, which again will be built and will use some of Ripple's framework, is kind of a replacement to some degree. But again, we're not going to use replacement. We're going to use a kind of working together with SWIFT, as they use SWIFT as the kind of body for everything that they're doing. But SWIFT lacks in a part of this messaging. And by the way, guys, what we're talking here is settlement and messaging. Now, messaging is what SWIFT also has. The settlement itself is, I guess, where the Ripple part will come in, as I basically explained here, that substantially real-time settlement could kick in, and the messaging system will most likely be kind of a mix together because of the tokenized part of it. So a lot of people on Twitter have been talking about this, and I've been really diving deep into the past about what we've known and what has been said. To be honest with you, there have been so many magical parts, and look at this, right? If we actually look back, I have found multiple different quotes from Ripple members and people close to it that SWIFT basically does not really work anymore, or is kind of small to some degree, because as I've just explained, it just does messaging. Now, in 2019, SWIFT improved speeds to an average of 30 minutes for half of GPI payments, with almost every transaction being completed in less than 24. At the time, Ripple Labs dismissed that upgrades as just marginal improvement on very old architecture, yet once more, guys, Ripple has also confirmed that they are not replacing SWIFT. Point being, if you can't beat them, join them? I don't think so. It is tactical. Once more, it is really, really tactical. It says right here, we are two different things. We are not replacing SWIFT, as SWIFT has its own value, she answered, adding that banks could take advantage of both, which once more is how these things are just rolling in together. I firmly believe, with the hints that we've been given, that Ripple and SWIFT are working together in this one, and it's definitely quite interesting. So once more, as I said before, a lot of these guys are talking about it right now. So Identity is helping the 11,000 SWIFT member banks update for the ISO 20022, and they just filed a patent to use XRP in settlement system they are creating that overlaps with SWIFT. Yes. Turns out the rumor about SWIFT using XRP to settle payments is true, or at least Ripple to some degree, right? We don't know about XRP specifically, but Ripple looks to be true. SWIFT settles trillions of dollars a year. Get ready for mayhem. The rate at which XRP gets burned on a daily basis will be substantial. We did a Crypto Freaks. The Holy Grail lands with XRP. Well, things are just looking really beautiful as it currently stands. Baba just posted, so wait, the XP patent to be used by banks uses the receipt, 1023. I don't know about that too much, the receipt. Well, I wonder what Bearable Guy 123 would think. Always remember, BG123 and Mr. Pool told you XRP plus SWIFT in 2019. Whatever. Enjoyed the show. Settlement gateway of paired banks since, by the way, of non-limiting example XP. Native currency of the RIP protocol to Biller's Bank Gateway, Payer's Bank Gateway, notifies token database 1023 of receipt. I don't know why he said it like that. Oh, okay. He's just saying the XP patent to be used by banks uses the receipt. Yeah, whatever. I don't really care what he writes down, to be honest with you. Let's see what else we got, though. So, as I said before, a lot of people are talking about that right now. Also, I have done my own little... I've done my own little research. I tried, I spent about 1.5, maybe 2 hours today, maybe 3 hours already, maybe 2.5. I'll say about 2.5 hours today, just digging through patents, thriving. Right, I did my best. I checked patents. I just checked different places where I could find patents, basically, and then tried to do advanced searches for XRP and Ripple and whatnot. The thing is, even if I were to find a patent, if it's not filed really recently, I don't know if it was public knowledge yet or not, right? I only have my own little corridor of knowledge that I have, but it could literally be so that some patents from a couple of years ago had already been explored or not. I mean, who am I to know about it, right? So that's also the difficult part. If you find a document like this one, for example, right? Because I found so many different things that are all interesting, yet not really. It depends on your perspective. This is, for example, a architecture, system, and method for program defined transaction system and decentralized cryptocurrency system, and all they do is give XRP as a couple of examples down below. However, it is translated from Chinese. It could be that there's more to it, as they give it as an example, but we don't really know exactly what they're trying to get at or towards. And the problem here is a couple of things. One, there's a language barrier. Second, I would have to read through quite a lot of this patent to understand whether or not it actually has anything to do with XP at all. Because if you look at the little images here, it does not really use anything just straight off the bat, right? But however, it does use distributed ledger technology, and again, it's talking about blockchain services, so it's really difficult exactly what they're looking for and from what certain perspective they would ever use Ripple / XRP tech, and that's the same thing for so many of these patents as well. I would either have to really put my effort in there, and then I'd know, or we're just gonna kind of brush them off and just accept they're not that important because it's not like a system like SWIFT, basically, that's of great importance. This is just, it's fun, right? This is, by the way, a US patent, actually. I'm seeing it says US. These are all Chinese patents right here, which are all different, yet all the same. It's basically talking about some newer sort of city or something like that. It's been filed a couple of months ago, and the publication came a couple of months later. Smart city network architecture based on blockchain and software-defined network. And that's what all these Chinese patents are all about. They basically were all filed on the same little time frame right there, the 27th of January. All a little bit of the same stuff as well. And fun fact, most of us can't even read the names of the guys that actually invented it, which is also kind of funny, I guess. All right, yeah, but I just wanted to quickly, let's type in XRP once more. See if we can find it right here. Yeah, so as an example here, I didn't even understand this. Blockchaining techniques, Pillington 2016, outlines evolutionary techniques for blockchains such as Ether House, BITRUE, Rayleigh, Ripple, XRP 2013, Gridcoin. Like, what is this supposed to mean? Is that anything at all? I don't think so. It's just given as an example, but still, it's Rayleigh? Well, who the frick is Rayleigh? I'm assuming it's a translation error, but I don't, who knows what that means? Who knows what that means? Yeah, that's a little funny side note for right now. Ooh, I am opening up that by accident. There we go. All right, guys, that was it for today's video. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. And I will definitely see you guys again in another crypto video. But long story short, yeah, XRP, SWIFT, it's coming together.